So I get a lot of questions about where should one begin when you're a complete beginner, right? When you barely have calluses built, when you're just navigating the very basics of this fretboard of the strings. Now, I think fundamentally, the very most foundational place to start is your open strings, and more specifically, memorizing each of your open strings. Recognizing how you can be like, okay, this is E, this is B, this is G, this is D, this is E, and this is low E. Just having this ingrained, really just recognizing what exactly these are. And then moving from here, naturally, you can really begin to navigate open chords like G, like D, like A, major, D major, A major, and then A minor, and really just begin to feel into the way that your fingers feel. And also, of course, being conscious of your thumb placement. Thumb placement is vital in every right of how you play. If you're playing bar chords, you need a very specific thumb placement. For me, I very much like to have my thumb basically halfway through, maybe about 60% through the back of the guitar neck, on sort of an angle, almost like an angle going this direction, very actively. But again, it's whatever's comfortable to you. But the idea is, when I'm playing a bar chord, this is a very different thumb placement than when I'm, say, doing maybe legato combinations or tapping combinations. It's just constantly changing depending on exactly how you want to navigate the fretboard. So surely having a core awareness of what your open strings are, what basically chords are, and finding the tension points and finding your thumb placement is a powerful, phenomenal place to start. Now, another thing I found myself very attracted to when I was very new to guitar is basically the simplest parts of legato techniques. So that is very simply hammering on, sliding, pulling off. Now, it's really that easy. Like, honestly, I talk about this in other sort of short format videos, where sliding is a very, very easy technique to apply, right? It's sliding in the simplest right, obviously, is just about navigating your spatial awareness on the fretboard. So now, as you find yourself, you can practice this in so many different ways. You don't even have to engage in melodic ideas very actively. It's just finding that beautiful sweet spot, that tension point where you are successfully fretting and then allowing yourself to navigate 1 fret, 2 frets upwards, and just locating, just doing something simple as going from this 5th to the 12th, from this 12th to the 10th. I really, really highly recommend, this is what I did when I was very, very new, is surely just navigating these very basic sliding combinations. And then if you're feeling strong about that, mix it up by doing a simple hammer-on pull-off, or just pull off again, and just really instilling your ability, bit by bit, very gradually, your ability to navigate, your ability to fret, and create these very simple legato combinations everywhere on the fretboard. If you can even begin to do that, you will be in a very strong place. We find yourself consistently do this every day for a number of weeks, months, you will very actively be making active progress, and you'll begin to connect the dots and how these shapes all come together. So again, if you're new to guitar, be very patient with yourself. Be patient with the process of letting your hands strengthen, letting your calluses develop. You need to do this. This is kind of a core thing that I remember I was talking a lot on my stream about, is guitar is one of the most interesting instruments to learn. It's one of the most interesting, I would say, evolutions and progressions in relation to how you learn, because it's very difficult when you begin. It's not one of those instruments that is beginner friendly. It's just not. The very fact that you have to develop finger strength, dexterity, and physical calluses is a testament to that. It's not a very beginner friendly instrument, but this is the thing, is guitar fundamentally, I really feel, is going to teach you extraordinarily powerful lessons. It's very simply, it's going to teach you about things like delayed gratification, that is, receiving a reward far after the process of doing something, versus delayed gratification when you're instantly receiving gratification. It's teaching you how to basically focus or see a long-term vision far before you receive gratification for that. And this is a powerful, powerful lesson in life. So the idea that if you think, you're getting maybe stifled or creatively blocked in guitar, you're just getting frustrated, recognize that guitar is trying to teach you something that is a pivotal lesson in life that you really need to look into. You have to basically acknowledge that there's elements of this process of learning this instrument that is not going to pay off until months, if not years, if not many years down the road. And you need to accept this. You need to allow yourself to instill this belief, this awareness of seeing the larger vision on things in life, because obviously this doesn't play to just things like guitar. It plays into so many different nuances and powerfully relevant things in life. Be it growing and creating a YouTube channel. It's the act of discipline and acting on delayed gratification and dopamine that is associating with delayed gratification that is life-changing. This is a life-changing lesson. So be patient with yourself. Be patient if you're very new to understanding what this looks like to engage in something that you can only receive gratification long term, as is delayed gratification. Be patient in the process of learning to instill the neural circuits of delayed gratification, but recognize this is a profound endeavor. This will radically change your life. This is very, very healthy practice that will translate into various different avenues. So recognize, be patient, and see that there's a long-term vision. Allow yourself to acknowledge that this vision exists, but do not fixate on it. Do not focus on it. This is against the very action of delayed gratification. You have to let yourself just organically fall in love with the process. Do this and you are bound to succeed. So again, focus on these foundational elements. Like, allow yourself, I think a core part of why people may not succeed in guitar is they overwhelm themselves. They try to get ahead of themselves. They're not realistic of where exactly they're at in their skill level. This is a problem I think people of all skill levels experience. So really just be honest exactly where you're at in your journey. Be patient with yourself, and then allow yourself to just organically grow based on what you personally find attractive in this experience, what you find elicits joy within your experience. So anyways, if this content resonates with you, feel free to follow this channel. I teach guitar. I do various live streams where I do very meditative styles of music, sound journeys and various types of things. Thank you so much for chiming in. Much love. Bless. Ashe.